What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the JT Sports Podcast. I'm your host, JT, joined by a special guest. We got the voice of the Eagles, Philly 500. What's going on, my guy?
What is happening, man? It is so good to be on here again. I appreciate you reaching out to me. Man, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be back in the Super Bowl, and everything is setting up beautifully. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, man. It's like you get to see the Sith Lord that is Patrick Mahomes twice. And before we even dive into it, you know, did you expect to be in this game with everything that was made about Nick Sirianni, the friction that he had with Jalen Hurts coming in, and then you have the whole situation on the sidelines with Jalen Carter. You got AJ Brown and Jalen
Hmm.
Hurts having some alleged friction behind the scenes. Like how were the Eagles even able to navigate all that and get to this game?
Well, I'll be honest. I think a lot of it is like nothing. Like what we hear from the media and what they put out and what they talk and what all the stuff that goes on. I think a lot of it is like stuff that gets way overblown. I think it gets a little bit ridiculous, to be quite honest with you. And sometimes it's hard to know what's real, what's not real. Um, but at the end of the day, I mean, I think with like Nick, like Nick he had a historical collapse last year. It was historical, and I personally thought he should have gotten fired because I didn't think he could recover from it. But those players, for whatever reason, they like him, and I thought he got better coaching as the year went on. And I always knew this team was talented. I thought they were like my expectations was they get to the NFC Championship game, and then anything can happen. So they've surpassed my expectations, but I think a lot of it is just I think it's all overblown. I really do, and I think that people are always looking for problems and issues. Like the Jalen and the Hurts on the sideline. There was nothing to it ever. I truly don't believe that. So and then whatever was going on with Nick and Jalen, you know, there were grown men that figured it out and can, you know, solve problems. I mean, so I just think it's all overblown.
Everyone, this is Philly.500. Make sure that you guys go ahead and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. But a lot of you guys should already know who this man is. As we said, this is the voice of the Eagles. And also make sure that you
Uh,
guys subscribe to the JT Sports Podcast. We're available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Links are down in the description down below. Like and subscribe if you're new. Super Bowl 59, Philly 500, the rematch
my
of Super
man,
Bowl 57. The
my
last
man.
time you were in this game, you came
Yeah,
up short. The fourth quarter, you weren't able to get it done. And I believe this game isn't going to be decided by the first 45 minutes. It comes down to the last 15 because when you look at the teams that have been able to beat the Chiefs, they've been able to come up big in the last
hmm
15 minutes. Can the Philadelphia Eagles make enough plays to win this game? Can you trust Nick Sirianni to make the right decisions? Can Vic Fangio's defense be trusted to stop Patrick Mahomes if the defense is on the field and they have to stop him to win the game?
I think so. I think so. The one thing that we've seen with the Eagles all year, and I'm sure a lot of people could say you said seen it with the Chiefs. The Eagles, they wear you out. They wear you out, and then they finish you off in the fourth quarter. So I like the Eagles in the fourth quarter in a close game. I really really do. I trust this defense. I trust what they've done. As long as they don't get away from what they've done, I think that they're in a perfect spot. I have not seen a team all year be able to hang with this team for four quarters. They just wear you out. They wear teams out.
And when it comes to being able to wear down the Kansas City Chiefs defense, your offensive line, you are a little bit banged up there. Guys are going to be playing, but guys aren't going to be at 100%. Are you
Mhm.
worried that that's going to have an influence on being able to slow down Chris Jones, or is he just one of those players he's going to get his regardless of what happens?
Uh, Chris Jones is a great player, and I think he's gonna do what he does. But with Stoutland, the offensive line coach, with guys like Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, you got Mekhi Becton, and Cam Jurgens. I don't want to leave him out. Like I really think this is a historical offensive line. I think once they win a championship, I think you're looking at one of the better offensive lines that we've seen in the league in a long time. Now they've got to win the championship to really, in my opinion, be put in that. But I look at what they've done. I've looked. I mean, you look at Saquon; he had over 2,000 yards. But you look at some of the runs; he has 50, 60 yards. Nobody touches him for 3, 4 yards. Nobody's even near there. So I think overall, if you want to look at individual matchups like with Jones, yeah, Jones is a beast. He's going to get his. They've got some good guys on the defensive line, but like I said, I have not seen a team at all, uh, take advantage of the Eagles' offensive line. They they've won every battle that I've pretty much watched this year. So until somebody does it, I believe in them. I do.
And I feel like once we get into the fourth quarter of this game, the difference between this Super Bowl and the last time the Eagles faced off against the Chiefs here, Jalen Hurts isn't going to have the weight of the world on his shoulders in this game because this year you have Saquon who's going to be that closer for you. Saquon's going to be
Right.
that guy who could potentially, keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, potentially be able to have a big time mismatch against a linebacker or whatnot. Are you confident though if Saquon Barkley gets shut down, can Jalen Hurts win this game throwing the ball? Because Steve Spagnuolo throws a lot of pressure, a lot of
Mhm.
blitzes, and he kind of has struggled against the blitz this year.
Well, I think Jalen's done all right against the blitz this year. I think he's improved that a lot as the year went on and from last year. But here's the thing: Jalen Hurts played Spags, a few years ago, and he was arguably the best player on the field. He had that one fumble that he had, but other than that, he had a really, really good game, and he threw the ball. And I'm telling you right now, I believe if they don't call that hold on Bradbury and the Chiefs go up 3, Jalen Hurts is going down the field and scoring a touchdown. I trust Jalen Hurts in big moments. I think he's a winner, and I think in those situations he flourishes. So if Barkley, let's say, for instance, is getting shut down or something to that effect, I do trust the ball in Jalen Hurts' hand. He doesn't turn the ball over. Knock on wood that continues. But no, I think Jalen is perfectly capable of winning. He's proved that, in my opinion, the last Super Bowl. Even though they felt short, he had a pretty good game. He came pretty close, so I believe he can do it. Yeah.
It's believed that there is a mismatch between the two coaches in this game. Andy Reid, we obviously know he's in
Mhm.
conversation for being the GOAT. And Nick Sirianni, he's a good coach, but he still doesn't get the credit he deserves because Howie Roseman, the team that he gave him, is Nick Sirianni going to be able to make these right decisions late in these games to get Kansas City this win? Because there's been a few moments this season, like against Jacksonville, he got a little bit overzealous going
Mhm.
for 2 point attempts, and Jacksonville almost won the game. So it's like, can you trust them to make the right decisions in these big moments?
I th I wanna say I think you can. I think he's come a long way. I would say I thought he came a long way since the bye week. If you remember that week 2 game versus Atlanta, I thought he had really bad coaching decisions that kinda cost the Eagles that game or helped contributed to it. If you look in previous years, same thing. But, if you also look at that Super Bowl 2 years ago, the Eagles, they were a very, very aggressive team, right? And then in that game, there was like a 4th and 2, 4th and short. The Eagles decided to punt the ball. Now, normally they would go for it, but in the moment, I think it got a little too big for Nick. And he punted the ball. Kadarius Toney has a huge punt return that sets up the Chiefs for a very big touchdown. So I think that if he stays aggressive and stays, true to what he's done all year, I think he'll be fine. But there is no doubt that the Chiefs have a head coaching advantage. You've got to give Andy Reid his due, definitely. But I think that Nick, yeah, I think he'll be all right as long as he stays true to what he's done all year.
You have two options. You need a big stop, or let me rephrase this. You can pick one of these two. You're
Okay,
down a touchdown. You can either have your defense on the field with an opportunity to win the game for you because you know your offense is going to score, or your offense has to go win it for you. Which one?
I like the idea of having my offense go win it for me. I can control that situation. I can control that, right? The ball's in our hands. I believe in Saquon Barkley. I believe in Jalen and that rest of the offense. Not that I don't believe in the defense, but I always will take the idea of having control of the situation than trying to react to the situation.
When you do get put in a situation, though, let's say if the defense has to get that stop, are they going to be able to get it done this time? Because we've seen the 49ers come up short. So many
Hmm.
teams come up short in
Yeah,
these spots against the boogeyman. Do you trust a Vic Fangio coach defense in this spot?
I have to. I mean, they're the number one defense in the league, and they are for a reason. You know that. I like Fangio, I do. I'm not the biggest. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the scheme sometimes. I think the whole bend don't break, play tough inside the 20s, don't give up the big play. Sometimes I think you need to blitz a little more, and I would like to see that. But I trust the players. Jalen Carter, I think Nolan Smith has really broken out, and I like being in that position with these guys. I think they could close it out, and I think they would. To be honest with you, as long as we don't get no phantom calls, that I can't control. That we can't control.
And yeah, like, how big of an influence do you think the refs are going to have on this game? Because you know, when you play Kansas City, you're not just playing them, but you're playing their 12th man,
Yeah, I
the
know.
black and white. Like, do you think the Eagles can overcome the referees, or are they going to make sure that the Chiefs get it done in a three-peat?
I think they can overcome them, but it always depends on like where the call is. Like, let's say the Eagles are up like 3 points, and there's not much time left, and the Chiefs are trying to get the ball back, and Barkley breaks a big touchdown, and it should clinch the game, and they throw a phantom holding call. Like that's a backbreaker. Like that could really screw you. So my hope is that I don't know if you saw, but there's been all this like the NFL came out, the refs came out and said that they're insulted that people think that they favored one team. Did you see that? My
Yeah.
hope is that because of that, they're going to actually be scared to throw the flag. And that maybe we'll get some sort of call to go our way so that they can say, you see, we didn't favor anybody. So maybe it'll work for us instead of against us.
And, I feel like the biggest advantages that the Eagles have coming into this game is that, for one, you are outright the way better team this go around. You have the best roster in the NFL, and with the Kansas City Chiefs offensive tackle situation, there's a good
Yeah.
chance that this game could go similarly to that 2020 Super Bowl when Brady beat him up pretty badly. So
Yeah.
it's like, I also like the matchup of the secondary against Kansas City's wide receivers.
Yeah.
Where are the advantages that you feel give the Eagles the best opportunity to win this game?
Well, obviously, I actually think both lines of scrimmage are actually an advantage for the Eagles overall. Um, The Chiefs, look, they got a good defense. They do. But when I look at the Chiefs compared to, let's say, 2 years ago, the Chiefs, they were able to run on us. I think we're much better against the run than we were. I think our linebacking core and secondary is much better. I don't think they're as explosive as they were a few years ago. Mahomes scares me because of his ability to create, basically plays with his feet and with his arm by time. That to me is the biggest concern. But I think if you look at the Eagles, I think that offensive line, I think the way the defensive line has come on, I think they're big advantages for the Eagles. And I know that's crazy when you think about it and you think about Chiefs defense, which is good, and they got guys on the line are good. But I mean, I really truly believe this is the best offensive line in football. And I believe that the Chiefs haven't gone up against anything like this. So to me, the ability for the Eagles to run the ball, which they didn't do in that Super Bowl they played them last time, and the ability to stop the run, I think is going to be major differences in this game than in the last game.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Chiefs' run defense hasn't really been that good this year, neither. And, James Cook had a good game. So did Joe Mixon. But as an Eagles fan, what are your biggest worries going into Super Bowl 59? Because although you see this team a second time, you know that Patrick
Right.
Mahomes is inevitable. Like, what scares you about this game?
Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes scares me. Um, Mahomes scares me, and actually Travis Kelsey scares me because I think that if you look at the defense, one area that I don't think we've been all that great against this year is tight ends. Look at Ertz in that game versus Washington, the championship game, had 11 catches, and you know that they're going to keep dumping it off underneath to Kelsey. So what I worry about is, I would say, death by 1,000 paper cuts. Right? It's like, yeah, they don't go and get the big play, but boom, it's that constant 3 yard, 4 yard little dump off to Travis Kelsey that runs for another 4 or 5 yards, and then they methodically go down the field. That worries me the most. That, and you got to win the turnover battle. You've got to win the turnover battle. If the Eagles turn the ball over twice, I think Kansas City wins this game.
And why do you feel like the Eagles won't be able to overcome the turnovers? Because it's like you do have a good enough defense that could, get a few stops.
Oh, they could. They could. But I think that, to me, if the Eagles don't turn the ball over, I don't think they can lose this. Like, I don't think they can lose this game if they don't turn the ball over. So to me, the only crack in the armor is if for some reason the Eagles turn the ball over twice. And not even an early turnover. Like if there's nerves, and let's say Barkley fumbles the ball or something, all pumped up coming out, that you could recover from. But like second half, you have like two bad turnovers. You even look in that Super Bowl, right? The turnover that Hurts had, uh, that really hurt us. Even though the Eagles were up 10 points at halftime, that's those points still came out at the end to really hurt us. So I think that in the playoffs, I think playoff football, Super Bowl included, I think when you turn over the ball, it's magnified a lot. And I think if they take care of the ball and they don't turn it over, I really don't think the Chiefs can win. I think the only way they can win is by forcing and having two. When I say two turnovers, I don't mean just two total turnovers. I mean they have to have, the differential has to be +2. They have to be +2. So the Eagles throw, if the Eagles have two turnovers and the Chiefs have two turnovers, that kind of evens itself out. But if they have two more turnovers than the Chiefs, I think that's a problem.
Before we let you on out of here, everybody, this is Philly.500. Make sure that you guys go ahead, subscribe, check them out. This is the voice of the Philadelphia Eagles. And make sure
Oh,
that
you're
you
too nice.
guys you are, man. Like, you're the biggest Eagles channel out there. Like, you're
I mean, I'm just a man trying to make my way. That's all.
now
Trying to make my
everybody,
way.
make sure that you guys give us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast from, Apple, Spotify. Subscribe if you're new. Before we get you on out of here, we need your prediction. Listen, I'm rooting for the Eagles, but
There you go.
if I got to put money on it, I got to take Kansas City, man. I just feel like
I love it.
with Patrick Mahomes, the weirdness with the referees, I
Yeah.
just think Kansas City's going 3-peat and get it done this year. And my score prediction is Kansas City 27, Philadelphia 24.
Mm. So that's another heartbreaker. I don't know if I could take that. Um, Listen, I've pissed off a lot of Kansas City Chiefs fans with this prediction this week, and even some Eagle fans that think I'm crazy. I think the Eagles win this game 37-20. I think they're going to take it to them early. I think they're going to put points on the board. I think the Chiefs will crawl themselves back in the game, and I think the game will be much closer than the score shows. But I think it'll be late fourth quarter. I think Barkley breaks it open with a big touchdown run. The Eagles go up, and then I think they add like a garbage pick six, in desperation mode for the Chiefs. I think the Eagles win 37-20. The worst thing that can happen to the Chiefs, I truly believe it, is playing the Eagles. If they play any other team, they would have won. But the fact that you're playing a team that already lost to you is going to bite them in the butt in this game.
Everyone, this is Philly.500. We appreciate you for coming on, my guy.
Thank you, my man.
Good luck to the Eagles. Everyone,
Thank
appreciate
you.
you guys for tuning in. See you guys shortly with another episode.